Thought it took us a minute to kind of figure out their defense and how to attack it. We knew that they were going to do that a little bit. I wasn't sure if they would do that 100% of the time, which they did today. So, but I was really pleased with the way that we were able to figure it out and obviously finish the game, scoring 30 points in the fourth quarter. So I think we understood how to attack it and was also happy with the way that we rebounded and defended. So overall, great day for the Wolverines.
You mentioned before the season that this might be one of the youngest teams in the country, starting 3 freshmen. I guess how has that combination worked out to your expectations so far?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know, and golly, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. It's early. Who knows what the season's going to bring? But they're freshmen, but the way they play the game of basketball, they are extremely talented. They're extremely unselfish. They play the right way, and they're incredibly hard workers. And I think, when you have, like, arguably your most talented kids as some of your hardest workers, it just sets a great example for everyone else. And I think it also then allows the older kids to really embrace them because how unselfish they are and how hard they work. So they've been phenomenal. They're just a tremendous, tremendous group. They complement each other so well, and I just think they're handling this stage pretty well.
Jordan Klein, Michigan Daily. What did you guys do coming in to prepare for the 1-3-1 zone, and what did your game plan look like?
Yeah, we've had quick turnarounds because we only had 2 days to prepare. So one day is kind of like figuring out what happened in the game before, and then really it's like 1 day of preparation. So we worked a little bit on the 1-3-1, and we worked a little bit on it today in shoot around as well. We knew when we got a post in there that we would have the seal. And Yulia and Ali got that a lot. We knew we would have that. But with the 5 guards, we knew we were going to have to either flash in the middle and then cut from behind. And you saw we started to do that later, but it took us a minute to figure it out. But then we did. I mean, we had 21 assists. I thought we really started to figure it out. So we prepped for, 2 days to try to figure it out.
Sam Gibson, Michigan Daily. Mila Holloway has really come to life in these past 2 games. What have you seen from her?
Yeah, she's extremely, extremely talented. She's really a special player. She runs our entire team. She plays with tremendous pace. She's a great decision maker for such a young kid. The fact that she scored in the basketball is just like, a bit of a bonus. I knew that she can score, but her ability to lead at that position as a young kid is exceptional. So you add the scoring to it, and she's just been phenomenal. I'm going to credit myself with the 4 or 5 for 3 today because I rebounded for her before the game.
They talked earlier about, Jordan was talking about how composed she was. Is that something that you saw from her out of high school?
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, she doesn't get sped up. I don't know if I've ever had a point guard here, maybe one of our first point guards here. And she was great. But Mila just has a way that she sees the floor. She's a great decision maker. She can score the basketball. She plays with such tremendous pace. Her composure is, it's really impressive for a young kid to play that position. And I think, you saw it with the likes of South Carolina. And after that game, she was so disappointed in herself. And I'm like, girl, you just played against the number 1 team in the country and, handled that. Not that long ago, you were in high school. You were playing against all-conference, all-American kids, doing that in that type of atmosphere. So I just think she's getting more and more comfortable understanding, what her role is and how to make those decisions. And she's tough. She's a tough matchup for sure. Yes.
How big of an emphasis is there on offensive rebounding when you know your opponent's going to come out in his zone?
Yeah, and rebounding in general. We have really, especially with 5 guards, we've spent a lot of time talking about putting pressure on the rim. And if we just line up around the 3-point line and never cut to the rim, we're never putting pressure on the rim, and we're never putting ourselves in a position to offensive rebound. So that's really been a point of emphasis of ours in the last 2 weeks. So we talk about, hey, if we're going to have this 5-guard lineup, you got to cut, you got to rim run, you got to put yourself in position if we're going to take shots that we're in position of offensive rebound, and especially against the zone where they're not in block-out positions and they're playing so high. So they had 4 above the foul line. Like, we need to get out there and have a motor to the ball. And Silas Swords and Brooke Daniels, Brooke had 4 O boards, just on having a motor. Like, those two have been exceptional for us, giving us second chance opportunities. And I think someone with Yulia, she had 5. Like, someone with her size can really make an impact down there.
Elena Lamont, Michigan Daily. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your guys' defensive strategy, specifically in the second and fourth quarters where you guys held Oakland to less than 10 points each.
Yeah, I think we try to change the defense, get up and change tempo. And I think in the first half, we kind of sat back and weren't very aggressive. And we talked about that at halftime. We did a much better job in the second quarter, but talked about really being aggressive and really coming at them and trying to trap off the screens and trying to take away next passes instead of sitting back and allowing them to feel comfortable. And I thought we did a better job of that. I think when Brooke comes in, she gives us a spark off the bench where she then picks up 94 feet, and that's disruptive, and that wears people down. And I think, she helps change the tempo of the game for us on the defensive end.
It seemed like Silo was also pretty disruptive today. Like, I think every time I looked at her, her hands were up, which I think my coaches, when I played, always talked about.
Yeah.
She's the first person I've looked at, and that's always been the
Yes,
case.
and we work on that a lot. Mila's are down here. Don't tell her I said that. She got to get them. And she's the smallest person. I'm like, Mila, be like tall. Like, come like this.
But she's just been so disruptive and making plays that don't necessarily show up in the stat sheet if she's knocking a ball loose and someone else is picking it up.
Yeah.
What's her defense been like this season?
She is probably one of the best defenders in the country as a freshman, and that's ridiculous. And I think that playing on her national team, being the youngest kid and having to guard, the other countries, not the other opponent, not the other person from the state, the other country's best player became her role. She knew, she was going to be a young one, and scoring wasn't a priority for her on her national team, that she was going to have to make that team being a defensive specialist. So she has bought into that role. I said to Sarah, like, walking down from the radio, she is on triple-double watch almost every single game because of how she impacts the game. And if you're just a normal person maybe coming to watch the game, you wouldn't understand that. But like you said, you were a player and you understand what your coaches try to teach you, and you look at her and the things that she does. She is relentless. Like, she never takes a possession off. She has an incredible motor to impact the game. You saw it first and foremost in South Carolina, and thankfully she had the opportunity to showcase herself on the national stage that early in her career because she got a chance for people to really appreciate what she does. She impacted the game on the offensive boards by getting her hand on she didn't get rebounds out of the air. She got rebounds from knocking, by having a motor and by just pursuing the ball. And that's what she does every single day. She had 4 steals, and like you said, she probably had 3 or 4 more plays that somebody else came up with that she impacted and hit the ball for somebody else to come up with it. So she's incredible. Every day it's like, she has 7 rebounds, 4 steals. Some days it's in the assist category. She's really, really, really a special basketball player.
And if you were going to call someone like the glue player for your team, like if you had to pick one person, who would that be and why?
I think right now and I could say a couple different people, but I have to go with one of the OGs. I have to go to Quad Squad, Jordan Hobbs. She just has the experience. And I think the other thing about her is she had to struggle to be where she is today. She wasn't the freshman that's coming in and lighting up the scoreboard. She had to work. She had to not that these other kids haven't earned, because they're very talented, but she played behind people and she had to persevere and she had to overcome and she had to earn and she had to work. And for her to be in the position that she is now, where she led our team in assists tonight. She also had 5 rebounds. She's leading our team probably in scoring. She can see the court. She makes good decisions. She doesn't get sped up. She has to guard the other team's post player. We're asking her to do so much. And she's taking, you know, a lot of people would be jealous maybe of some of these younger kids in our program, and she's embracing them and being a big sister, being a great teammate to them. So just, you know, from a coach's perspective, I love our freshmen. I mean, they make me smile every day. They make me happy every day. They are joy. But like Jordan has my heart right now. Like she stood by, she like persevered, she's overcome, like she's our glue, for sure.
That sounds great.